But let me start with a very simple idea. That idea is that in life, it's love and purpose that matter. This photo, that shows that every so often, love and purpose can align. They can come together. When Clayton and I asked Supreme Court Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg if she would renew our marriage vows, to be honest, we were thinking first about purpose. As the first openly gay U.S. ambassador in East Asia, I had hoped to provide a bit of encouragement to Vietnam's LGBTI community. Now, Clayton and I had on many occasions heard from gay people here that when they saw us, they saw that perhaps it was possible to have a career and a family, and for them also to have careers and families. So the visit of Justice Ginsburg, just a few weeks after the Supreme Court of the United States made an historic decision to recognize our marriage and to make sure our marriage was recognized in all 50 states, that seemed to us like an opportunity really to encourage other people, encourage people here in Vietnam. At a press conference at our home, Justice Ginsburg walked through the history of marriage equality that led up to the Supreme Court's historic decision. She said, change began in the states, starting with Massachusetts. And then the Supreme Court heard a case that involved a criminal law that penalized same-sex relations. The Supreme Court decided that law was unconstitutional. The next case that came to the Supreme Court involved the law of another state in which LGBT people could be deprived the protection of anti-discrimination laws. The Supreme Court decided that that law too was unconstitutional. You can't have one group of people that you are entirely outside of the protection of the law. By the time the Supreme Court decided the Obergefell case, that famous case on marriage equality, there were already a number of small steps in the direction of marriage equality, and a good number of states in the United States had already recognized it. So the Supreme Court was not taking one large step in the direction of marriage equality, but a further step in a process that had begun more than 10 years earlier. Justice Ginsburg argued that social change began at the state level, and that's what made it broadly acceptable. She didn't argue that Vietnam should follow the United States in making marriage equality the law of the land. She said social change leads to legal change. When she spoke, Justice Ginsburg held in her hands a worn copy of the U.S. Constitution. And later, I accompanied her to meet Vietnam Supreme Court justices to talk with them about the changes that were happening in this country. And she continued to hold that worn copy of the U.S. Constitution. And several times she referred back to it. She never said, you should follow us, but rather, this is what's done in the United States. And she used examples of what decisions were made in countries like Turkey and Romania and Singapore to strengthen the rule of law, to improve the judicial systems in those countries. In every meeting, the justice showed respect for Vietnam's decisions about its own future. Now, American society is not perfect, and neither is Vietnam's. But this very wise justice said, these two imperfect societies, maybe they can learn from each other. So in Vietnam, over the past 20 years that I've been coming and going from this country, I've learned that family means a great deal. Family is what's celebrated during Tet. It's celebrated in your songs. It's celebrated in your legends. And it's celebrated in your poetry. So when Justice Ginsburg renewed our vows, we hope to show that family, too, was possible for LGBTI people. Now, we have two children, a son and a daughter, and they were with us when we renewed our vows. You see, the first time we took our vows, more than 10 years ago, they mostly mattered just to the two of us. But this time, those vows mattered to these two very small people. These two people who are like our hearts outside of our bodies. This time, when I placed a ring on Clayton's finger and reaffirmed my commitment to have and to hold from this day forward through all our life together, our 19-month-old son jumped from my arms right into Clayton's. And so perhaps it's because we love our children so fiercely. And because now we know what marriage really means, that the words of that vow, to have and to hold from this day forward through all our life together, they had much, much greater significance to us this time. On that day, on that special day, love and purpose came together for us. We declared our love for each other, and we declared our love for our family. And we did so with the hope that families are possible for all, even here in Vietnam. We did so also with a sense of humility, because, you know, each society is going to find its own way. A few months ago, I was in Hue, and a young man asked me, have you ever encountered any difficulties as a result of the fact that you're gay? And I thought about it, and I thought, I've got to tell him the truth. Yes, I have. I've encountered difficulties. But because I've decided to be who I am, I now have a career that I love, and I have a family that I love. You see, I love representing the United States in Vietnam. I'm proud to do that. I love Vietnam. Now, in Vietnam, it may be harder than it is in the United States to be openly gay. But I would still suggest that it's better to be who you are than to try to be somebody else. It's better to see love and to see family as possibilities, not only for some, just for some people, but for everyone. It's better to see that sometimes, love and purpose come together. Thank you.